Penguins rebuild, can Kyle Dubas get it done in time for Sidney Crosby? The clock is ticking, can the Penguins rebuild in time for Sidney Crosby's swan song? Imagine a scenario where Pittsburgh Penguins general manager, Kyle Dubas, successfully rebuilds the team just in time for the legendary Sidney Crosby to savor one final triumphant season. This ambitious quest is underway, with the Penguins boasting a league-leading 17 picks in the first 3 rounds of the next 3 drafts, plus 13 picks in the 2025 NHL Draft. But there's a catch: the looming presence of veterans on the trade block, including Erik Karlsson, Rakell, and the highly valued Bryan Rust. The Fenway Sports Group's impatience factor. The ownership's eagerness for swift results has trickled down to the management, pressuring them to accelerate the rebuilding process. Meanwhile, the Penguins' prospect pool has deepened at an unprecedented rate, with even the 15th-ranked prospect on the PHN Top 25 list potentially getting a taste of NHL action soon. However, the timing of their debut is crucial in giving Crosby another shot at playoff glory. The two-wave prospect tsunami. The first wave, comprising Rutger McGroarty, Ville Kuivanen, and Owen Pickering, is expected to arrive this season. Nevertheless, there will be a noticeable gap before the next wave, largely consisting of the 2025 draftees, who might not be ready until 2027 or later. Notable exceptions could be 2025 first-rounders Bill Zonen or Will Horkoff, but their rapid development is far from guaranteed. This leaves trading as the most viable option to inject more youthful talent into the 2026 to 2027 roster. The race for Sid, where are the trades? This summer's trade landscape eerily resembles the stagnant market of 2023, which surprisingly culminated in the Erik Karlsson deal on August 6. With the Penguins' veteran trade chips cooling off, the question lingers: will Dubas enter the season with all 3, despite the benefits of trading 1 or 2? The absence of a Karlsson trade is particularly pressing, given the team's surplus of 6 right-side defensemen capable of NHL ice time. Hard truths with Erik Karlsson. A recent radio appearance sparked controversy when this writer stated, outside of a 6 or 8 week stretch where he was brilliant, and the 4 Nations tournament, Erik Karlsson wasn't an asset to the Penguins. While analytics paint a more positive picture, the eye test tells a different story. It's time for Dubas to have a blunt conversation with Karlsson, presenting him with a stark choice: Team X or Y, your only options for a Stanley Cup run. The unsung hero, goalie coach Andy Chiodo. As the Penguins navigate this critical juncture, Chiodo's role becomes pivotal. He must help Tristan Jarry find consistency, building upon the mental work that sparked his late-season resurgence. Moreover, Chiodo will work with Arturs Silovs to bridge the gaping chasm between his big game and regular season performances. Fortunately, Chiodo's expertise in the mental aspect of the game will be invaluable. Don't forget 23-year-old Joel Blomqvist, who needs to address technical and mental shortcomings to capitalize on his opportunity. But here's where it gets controversial. Do you think Kyle Dubas should prioritize trading Erik Karlsson, even if it means accepting a lesser deal, to accelerate the rebuilding process and give Sidney Crosby a legitimate shot at another Stanley Cup? Share your thoughts. Do you agree with the notion that Karlsson's time in Pittsburgh is up, or can he still make a meaningful impact? And this is the part most people miss. The Penguins' goaltending conundrum might just be the most critical aspect of their season. Can Andy Chiodo work his magic with Jarry, Silovs, and Blomqvist to create a formidable goaltending unit? The answer could make all the difference in their quest for a swift rebuild. Penguins off-season drama: will Karlsson, Jarry, Rust, or Rakell be traded? The Penguins face a crucial decision: they must retain or compensate someone. As the NHL off-season stretches on, with approximately 6 weeks remaining before training camps kick off, chatter surrounding potential trades for the Pittsburgh Penguins continues to grow. Fans are left pondering the future of key players and how the team will navigate the off-season. Who will depart? Who ideally should be traded? How much talent will be exchanged? Although we haven't yet seen a major blockbuster trade occur, the Penguins have certainly been busy with several noteworthy transactions during this off-season. From executing numerous draft pick trades to acquiring Connor Clifton and absorbing Matt Dumba's salary to snag an additional draft pick, their activity hasn't gone unnoticed. They also orchestrated a fascinating deal to bring goalie Arturs Silovs over from the Vancouver Canucks. Furthermore, they've made some shrewd short-term free agent signings that could potentially be traded in March for even more draft picks or highly valued prospects. While it's likely they are mostly done pursuing free agents, the trade market still holds significant intrigue. The nature of these trades, their potential impact, and which players will be involved remain uncertain. Currently, the most discussed trade candidates from the Penguins are defenseman Erik Karlsson, forwards Bryan Rust and Rakell, along with goalie Tristan Jarry. Each name brings with it a whirlwind of speculation regarding their future with the team. It seems pretty safe to predict that at least one player from this quartet will find themselves suiting up for another team next season. However, it's equally plausible that not every one of them will be migrated elsewhere. In fact, the odds are leaning towards 2 or 3 of these players remaining in Pittsburgh when the new season rolls around. This isn't necessarily due to the Penguins' commitment to a total rebuild, though that's a topic for another day, but because the team will need to compensate certain players to field a competitive lineup this year. As of last Thursday, the Penguins are perched $13 million below the NHL's salary cap ceiling of $95 million, boasting a cap number of $82 million, which would place them among the lowest payrolls in relation to the salary cap seen over the past 2 decades. Yet, they find themselves barely $12 million above the league salary cap floor of $70 million, a reality that has been impacted by their recent acquisition of Dumba's contract via trade with the Dallas Stars. To illustrate the current landscape, here are the cap figures for the 4 players frequently mentioned in trade discussions. Erik Karlsson, $10 million. Tristan Jarry, $5.3 million. Bryan Rust, $5.125 million. Rakell, $5 million. Given the Penguins' transaction history over the last year and a half, it's reasonable to assume that any trades they pursue will likely target younger, less expensive players, emerging talent, or valuable draft picks. Now, let's hypothetically imagine that the Penguins successfully trade away Karlsson and also part with one of the 2 forwards. This could mean shedding over $15 million from their payroll, provided no salary is retained in these transactions. However, that would bring the payroll down to $67 million, which would find them $3 million below the required salary floor. In that case, the Penguins would need to either retain over $3 million in salary on those trades, a possibility, considering they have 3 salary retention slots available, take on at least $3 million in return during the trades, or locate an additional $3 million in salary elsewhere just to comply with the salary floor requirements. These figures would naturally escalate with the trade of any other player. In scenarios involving both Karlsson and Jarry, it's reasonable to assume that any trade would necessitate either retaining some salary or acquiring another team's unfavorable contract in return. Thus, the financial aspects could very well balance out. Ultimately, the key takeaway is clear: the Penguins can't merely jettison all their high-salary players in exchange for draft picks or younger, cheaper alternatives. If too much financial liability exits without corresponding incoming funds, their cap number will plummet too low. As the salary cap rises significantly this season, the number of teams urgently seeking to unload salary is limited. Therefore, making trades akin to those of Dumba, Kevin Hayes, or Cody Glass may prove more challenging. It's plausible that by retaining part of the salary in a deal for Karlsson or Rakell, or by acquiring another team's unfavorable contract, the Penguins could receive greater returns in terms of draft picks or prospects. Perhaps a trade could see Jarry swapped for another player with a similar salary. Nevertheless, there must still be some financial movement involved. These can't simply be salary dumps. This is why I remain skeptical about the Penguins opting to unveil a completely new roster this offseason. There are many factors that suggest keeping some of these players could be beneficial. Particularly in the cases of Rakell and Rust, they contribute tangible skills that could be valuable even a couple of seasons from now. Additionally, the Penguins don't find themselves under pressure to trade these players for financial motives. They can afford to wait for favorable offers. The existence of capable players who genuinely care about the team's success helps foster a winning culture among a younger roster. After all, nobody wants to resemble teams that have struggled like Chicago, Detroit, or Buffalo. Ultimately, when the 2025-26 NHL season commences, the Penguins will undoubtedly have some players on their roster with significant contracts. The crucial question remains, who will these players be, and where will they come from? If the team intends to trade away any combination of the aforementioned players or other high-earning contracts, they must ensure that money flows back into their coffers from somewhere. The team's roster could transform dramatically depending on how they choose to manage their salary situation. Yet, my inclination leans toward the latter scenario, where the roster continues to resemble its current form. I predict that at least one player will be moved, possibly even two, but it's unlikely all will depart. Penguins trade values for Rakell and Rust, what the Red Wings might pay. The Daily, evaluating the trade value of Rust and Rakell, Bednar expresses gratitude. In a thought-provoking piece published today, Dan Kingerski from Pittsburgh Hockey now delves into the potential trade scenarios for the Pittsburgh Penguins, specifically focusing on what they might seek in exchange for Bryan Rust, a player hailing from Michigan, or Rickard Rakell. The Detroit Red Wings, who are actively searching for additional scoring talent, are likely to show interest in either of these players. Kingerski provides an analysis of Rakell's market value, suggesting that the Penguins could expect to receive a solid B+ level prospect or a young player, along with a draft pick position between 25th and 48th overall, which falls within the first half of the second round. Depending on the perceived value of these initial assets, they might also consider acquiring a depth NHL player, such as a bottom-six forward, a backup goalie, or a third-pair defenseman, whom general manager Kyle Dubas could later trade for another asset. When it comes to Bryan Rust, Kingerski asserts that the asking price is significantly higher, estimating it to be a guaranteed first-round draft pick along with a young player who has the potential to step into Rust's role within a year or two. Rust's value is challenging to define because it encompasses more than just statistics. There are intangible factors at play, Kingerski notes. On paper, Rust and Rakell may appear similar, but they are quite distinct in reality. The emotional aspect of acquiring Rust is just as crucial as his tangible value. He would be an exceptional asset for any team aiming to cultivate a winning culture. Teams like the Detroit Red Wings, Buffalo Sabres, Anaheim Ducks, or even the Ottawa Senators could greatly benefit from his presence. Kingerski further questions, could Rust transform teams like Detroit, Buffalo, or Anaheim into playoff contenders? Absolutely. Achieving that level of success not only fosters team development but also enhances fan engagement and generates millions in playoff revenue. While every general manager can debate Rust's worth based on statistics, Dubas has shown prudence in retaining him, recognizing that these intangible qualities can significantly aid the Penguins in their ongoing transition. **** Red Wings update ****. In other news, goalie Jan Bednar has not lost hope in his aspiration to play in the NHL and expresses his gratitude for the support he has received from the Red Wings organization. For those interested, a paywalled article ranks Detroit's top 10 NHL prospects and forecasts their expected arrival in the Detroit lineup. To access this information, a subscription is required. If you're eager to see Joe Veleno donning a Montreal Canadiens jersey, your wait will be short, as the Red Wings are set to face Montreal on October 9th. **** Red Wings extra ****. Coach Todd McLellan's squad will kick off the season with a road game against the Toronto Maple Leafs on October 13th, coinciding with Canada's Thanksgiving. This matchup will be featured as the inaugural Amazon Prime game of the season, starting at 4 p.m. The Canadian Thanksgiving on October 13th will also mark the debut of Prime Monday Night Hockey, showcasing a doubleheader that includes the Detroit Red Wings against the Toronto Maple Leafs and the St. Louis Blues facing off against the Vancouver Canucks. For full details, check out the official announcement. ***Hockey Now Network ***. In Colorado, Arif Dean discusses why the Avalanche should consider making a trade for Yegor Chinakhov. Meanwhile, in Montreal, Mark Dumont examines potential partners for trading Carey Price's contract. In New Jersey, James Nichols evaluates the future of Nico Daws, and in Vegas, Hannah Rakell speculates on whether the Golden Knights' opening night lineup is already finalized.